Hello, and thank you for tuning in to this exciting webcast on how modern companies are using Microsoft's latest BI platform, the Microsoft Power BI, to turn big data and other data assets into business results. My name is Noam Topaz, and I'm a principal consultant working out of the Society Consulting headquarters in Bellevue. Today's presentation is the first in a series of presentations that we are going to make available around Microsoft Power BI. So in today's session, part 1, we're going to start from the top. We're going to discuss what is Power BI and give a general overview of it. And then we're going to show how people create BI assets, such as reports and dashboards from big data and other data sources. And finally, we're going to show how people collaborate with Power BI. If time permits, we're going to look at some of the new things that are coming down the pike in the next several months from Microsoft around Power BI. So with that, let's begin. Before we start the conversation around Power BI, let's anchor this conversation on the one thing that differentiates organizations in today's digital economy. That's data. All the analysts agree that companies that are able to take advantage of the vast amount of data that's out there in new and exciting ways are likely to outperform those that don't. And within these successful organizations, individuals that are able to make fast and informed decisions are likely to be more successful. This brings to mind a similar trend that happened 15 years ago when the buzzword was collaboration. Companies that were able to capitalize on collaboration outperformed those that didn't. So in today's world, it's all about the data. Let's take a closer look at the concept of data. Last year, the research firm IDC published a report after examining 2,000 companies and how they're making use of data and analytics investments. They found out that over the course of the next 4 years, on a worldwide level, companies that are making good use of data will capture $1.6 trillion more in value compared to companies that are not making use of the data. This value is a combination of three things: increased revenue, so the ability to make money out of the data itself; improved productivity, the ability to identify inefficiencies and act upon them; and a wide range of reductions in costs. The paper went on to examine how companies are achieving this value, and it was also broken down into three categories. First of all, the ability to report on a diverse set of data that either lives inside the organization or data that lives outside the organization. New ways to analyze the data was also very significant. So gone are the days of scouring through long reports just to figure out trends. And then finally, the ability to enable this to a wide range of people inside the organization. So no longer is this a selected handful of analysts, but really the ability to move it mainstream to inside the organization. All this translated into faster and greater accuracy in decision making. So with this backdrop of accessing a wide range of data inside and outside the organization, new ways to analyze the data, and enabling this to a wide range of people, comes Power BI. As I mentioned earlier, Power BI is the latest data exploration and visualization platform from Microsoft. It is a cloud-based business analytics service that enables organizations to connect to many more data sources inside and outside the organization. It enables business users to easily create their live dashboards and rich interactive reports, and it also enables the ability to collaborate and make these reports available on a wide range of devices such as Apple iPad and Android mobile phone. Next, let's familiarize ourselves with some of the components that make up the Power BI service. In general, creating and designing reports for Power BI is done through one of two desktop applications, Microsoft Excel and a new application called Power BI Desktop. Microsoft Excel requires an Office license and provides a very rich set of analysis, reporting, and programming tools against the data. The Power BI Desktop, which is a free application, focuses primarily on designing the reports and making it easy to publish them to the Power BI Cloud platform. The cloud platform of Power BI enables authors and report owners to manage collections of reports. It also controls the access to the data, whether it's on premises or in the cloud, whether it's Microsoft or non-Microsoft. It controls the access to the reports as well as scheduling the refresh of the data. Finally, consuming the reports can be done on a wide variety of browsers as well as the native applications on the platforms that I mentioned earlier, such as iOS and Android. Now that we got a general sense of Power BI, let's take a closer look at it. In the first part of the demo, we're going to show the experience of consuming and interacting with some of the reports. In the second part, we're going to create some visualizations and publish them back to the Power BI platform. Let's start the demo from the Power BI web experience. This experience is individual to each user. On the left, you can see all the places where I can go, and in the center is the currently selected dashboard, the Contoso Sales Dashboard, which we are going to examine in further details in just a moment. The hierarchy of content in Power BI starts from workspaces at the top. A workspace is similar in concept to a team site in Microsoft SharePoint, including the My Workspace, which is similar to the My Site. Now, each workspace combines one or several different dashboards, and each dashboard combines visualizations from one or several different reports. And a report can report a visualization from one or several different data sets. Now let's return to the Contoso Battery Sales Dashboard and examine how users interact with Power BI in general. As you can see, this dashboard is a very colorful one and includes different visualizations around sales. For example, on the left is the bar chart showing the sales by brand, and in the center is the same report, but it shows it in a pie chart. And you can see that Duracell, for example, accounts for more than half of the sales. While all the sales visualizations report on data that comes from inside the organization, the web searches visualization presents a report from a web analysis platform such as Google Analytics or in this case Bing Analytics. So you can have in one dashboard a report from several different sources. Now, clicking on any of the visualizations on the dashboard would present the underlying report that provided this visualization. This report provides a more comprehensive view of the battery sales snapshot. It includes a table with sales figures or a breakdown of sales by brand, by type of battery sold, and even by state. Now, this is a very interactive report. For example, I can see the exact figures just by hovering over the visualizations with my mouse. And if I click on Walmart, for example, all the other visualizations on the report will align to Walmart, so I can compare brand sold or battery types just for Walmart alone. And again, if I hover over the chart, I can get more details. If we click on Target, for example, all the graphs on the page will align to Target, and I can compare information just for Target. Now, likewise, if I click on a state, for example, all the graphs on the page will align to a single state, and I can compare the sales there. I can also hold my control key and click on a number of states and summarize several states together. So for example, if I'm a territory manager and want to see how we're doing in a particular territory. Another key functionality of Power BI is the reports drill down. There are two types of drill downs, drill all and drill through. The drill all essentially lets me toggle through different dimensions of the same report. So I can flip between brands, battery types, and states. If I click on the drill through button at the top, I can zoom in on each of the bars in the report. So if I click on Duracell bar, for example, I can see the breakdown of the battery types within Duracell. And likewise, if I click on the battery type, I can see the breakdown according to states. Okay, so now that we've seen a dashboard and the interactiveness of reports, let's examine some additional functions and visualizations of Power BI. Now, just like in Excel spreadsheets, this report has several different tabs. Let's flip over to the Geography tab and watch how managers would focus on specific stores and check in on their performance. This report overlays battery sales information of each store in Contoso's distribution on a map of North America. On the left, the report shows the information by brands, and on the right, by retailers. Now, the size of the circle is proportionate to the battery sales compared to the other stores. And because this is an interactive map, I can actually zoom in on any store, and if I hover over it, I can actually read the sales information of, for example, Duracell, Energizer, and Panasonic. I can also use the slicers at the top to filter the report on a specific retailer, for example, or a specific brand. And in addition to the slicers at the top, the author of this report provided another way to filter information. So if I click on the filter flyout, I can select the states and select a specific state, for example, Florida. And notice what happens to the map. It automatically zooms to show only the Florida stores. And once again, I can zoom in on any specific store and review the sales information of that store. Now that we've seen how Power BI can be used to show data on maps, let's move on to show how Contoso sales managers are able to track the sales performance in another way. This tab allows Contoso sales managers to track the performance of stores year over year, so this year compared to last year. Now the bars represent the percent changes as noticeable by the y-axis on the left, and the lines represent the sales of this year and last year. And this allows the managers to get a full picture, so not only the percent changes, but also the volume of sales. The Marketing tab reports on web searches of different battery brands over the course of the last 2 years. The tab is quite unique in the sense that it reports on data that resides outside the organization. So the same tool can be used for reporting on data inside the organization as well as outside the organization, like big data, for example, US censorship information or demographics and income levels and so forth. Now, in addition to the timeline, the report also provides breakdown according to age, by state, and by gender. And like we've seen in previous tabs, hovering over data elements will provide more specific details, and clicking on any visualization will align all the other reports on that visualization. So now that we've seen the sales information and marketing information in separate tabs, let's review the last tab of this report that compares the data from both sources, internal and external. Now, similar to what we've seen in previous tabs, the visualization on this tab overlays information from two different sources on the same graph. On the left, the bars represent the volumes of sales by brand, and the lines represent the web searches for each brand. Sales managers can glean quite a lot of insight from this data. For example, they can see that people are buying more Panasonic batteries compared to the number of searches, while Duracell requires a lot more awareness but yields more volume. Now, the visualization on the right is actually the reverse. The bars represent the web searches by age group, and the lines represent the sales, the volume by year. What's noteworthy about this report is that in the past, combining data from inside the company and outside of it would require a lot of development and in many cases would be cost prohibitive. So far, we've seen a very rich dashboard and reports that are quite interactive and provided different ways to slice the information. Now, these reports would be typically authored by a business analyst and would be generic but with a high degree of flexibility. But what if I'm a manager and have some specific questions about the information or need to track some specific data points? Do I need to start from scratch? Can I build on top of what's already provided for me? The answer is coming next. To complete this portion of the demo, we'd like to show an exciting feature of Power BI, one that differentiates it from many other modern BI tools, and that is the Q&A. This technology, also known as Natural Language Processing or NLP, allows users to interact with the data in a natural way, and the system, in this case Power BI, will not only attempt to understand the request, but also present back the answers in the most relevant way. And the beauty of this feature is the speed by which the system responds. To access the Q&A, I will type my questions at the prompt in the top of the page. Let's say I want to examine the battery sales. And notice how the system translates my request in the gray text below the line. Perhaps I want to drill into the sales in Texas. Perhaps I want to see it by brand, by retailer, or even by battery type. Notice how fast and easy the system responds. Now, I can also instruct the system to present the data in a different way than its default. I can also use this tool to compare data. For example, I'd like to see the sales in Texas compared to those in New York. Or maybe Texas compared to Florida. And so on. Finally, let's analyze the performance of the sales in Texas by stores. And notice how it automatically switches to a map layout. Now, if I'm the sales manager responsible for the Texas geography, suppose I want to have this visualization on my dashboard and have it be refreshed without having me type these questions over and over again. I can simply pin this visualization to my instance of the battery sales dashboard, return to the dashboard and find the visualization I just pinned at the bottom of the dashboard and give it the correct title, and then organize it on the dashboard canvas the way I'd like it, where it most makes sense for me. So this concludes the first part of the demo. We were able to see dashboards, reports, and questions and answers, and how easy it is to interact with Power BI in general. The next part, we're going to focus on how easy it is to create these visualizations.